So the route that I'm planning on taking here today is going to be really similar to the route that I took for my first ride there last year, which is to get up around the hamlet of Bethel. Thought it'd be kind of nice to take something a little bit different. Oh, there's a small plane. So the Tin Cap Airport is just to the north of us. There are a lot of private little planes that like to use it and just sort of putter around the area. So you see a lot of small planes like that. Most of the country roads around here are paved like this. There are a couple that are still gravel. So having tires like I have on my bike is really handy when you spend a lot of time biking out in the countryside like I do. You know, you might get some traffic behind you and want to let them pass, so you want to get up on the shoulder. You know, having tires like this with good grip means, you know, I can easily get here, and you can see I've got no worries or concerns. So that's why to me it was important to switch the tires that came with the bike with a much better set of proper mountain bike tires. And that's also the reason I generally don't like road bikes, and I'll always pick a mountain bike over a road bike, is just the versatility of riding them. They're a little heavier. They're, you know, you definitely won't get the same amount of speed as you would on a road bike, but the trade-off is in the versatility that you get with it. I can go trail riding, I don't worry about it. Go riding in the woods, once again, don't worry about it. Riding on the road, I'm comfortable. So this is the hamlet of Bethel. I always like going through this churchyard. It's kind of neat to see all the countryside around here. Then you've got the old church with a newer addition in the back. The old barn across the road with the weeping willow. Yeah. This is the kind of scenery I like to see. All right. Well, I am on a little bit of a time crunch, so I'm gonna keep on moving here. I've got an hour and a half before I've got to pick up Rhonda, and I think I'm at least another 45 minutes on this ride. We'll see. This is right up here. This is actually one of my favorite spots to come in the countryside, because you're raised up from everything. You've got such a great panoramic view of everything around you, and it gives me that feeling that I enjoy whenever I go into the prairies, which is just this feeling of freedom, because you've got this wide open expanse all around you. I know some people find the prairies boring, but me, no, first time I went out there, I absolutely loved it. Now, I loved it in a way where visiting it is awesome. Living out there, I miss Ontario. And I feel the same way about BC and pretty much anywhere else in this country. There's just something about living in the province of Ontario that I can't quite put my finger on, but You don't get the same thing anywhere else. Maybe it's the landscape, maybe it's the houses, maybe it's the people. Maybe it's all of that put together. I don't know, and it's actually something I've thought about for many, many years and never had an answer to. But for me, this is home. You take the good with the bad, and the bad is the snowy, cold winters. But you put up with that for 4 months out of the year, and the trade-off is immeasurable. I love that old busted up barn that's by the stone building over there. Also the stone fence that marks the edge of the property. Anything that just reminds me of a time gone by 100 years ago or so. I find it fascinating. Always had an interest in history. This is a nice little area. Now breathing feels good. Heart rate's down to about 87 beats per minute. And now at the 10-kilometer mark in my trip. Feels like about maybe 5 kilometers in. Legs have completely relaxed. It's doing about 30 kilometers per hour. And into a little bit of a headwind, but not too bad at all. So I think this is going to be my first gravel road here. Should be Spicer Road. Yep. I like this road too. It's got a couple of curves on it. Not busy at all, and always fun to ride. This is the nice thing about taking a country road like this, where you know it isn't traveled much. You can ride in the middle of the road just to find the driest, straightest, most level line, and you don't have to worry about traffic. Just look behind me every now and then, give the horses something to look at. They're probably enjoying the nice weather too. And situations like right now are exactly why I was talking about my tires earlier. There we go. Cool old barn. It's a lot muddier than I thought it would be. Afternoon. Oh, there we go. Ah, she's dried up. Always neat to see those big silos on farms, huh? Kind of a weird juxtaposition there with the old and the new. I definitely like the style of the old ones, with the concrete base and the tin dome there. just a little bit more visually pleasing. So I am starting to run a little bit short on time here. Got about 40 minutes before I need to go pick up Rhonda. So if I made the trip up to where the old Kings Highway is, I think I'm going to be a little bit short on time. So instead, I'm going to go past the airport. I'm probably not going to go through the trails at Mac Johnson. They're definitely going to be way too wet and muddy. There's probably even still some snow on there. It's the railway line there that Via Rail owns now. Trains run up to Smiths Falls and Ottawa that way from the line that travels from Kingston to Montreal. It splits off here in Brockville. Now right there to my left, you can sort of see that row of trees that looks like an old road. That actually was an old road. So this area had roads that were well traveled for automobiles back when cars first started coming around the area. And then there were a few horse-drawn carriages, like tracks, those kind of less used roads. That was one of them. And it's really sort of neat to take a look at old maps even from 75 years ago, where you can still see these roads mapped out. And some of them say unused, some of them say horse-drawn carriages. I just found that was kind of interesting, and I've always wondered, is that something that's still passable? Like, could I take my bike before all the vegetation grows real thick and make my way across? And that comes out down around where the Mac Johnson wildlife area is. Right there too. That goes all the way south. I think it's used for snowmobiles. That, I'm pretty sure, is still used pretty regularly. I've never gone through that, but I have been noticing it. And the railway path on Mac Johnson, the one that I commented on, is really straight, level. It's raised up from all the surroundings. That actually meets up with that. So I'm wondering if that might have been one of those old horse-drawn carriage trails that was going through the area way back in the day. Got an old cemetery here. Kind of neat to see the old gravestones. And just coming up to Tin Cap Golf Course. I really like golfing here. Doesn't cost an arm and a leg to do. The course is really fun, and hole 3 and me, we've got a history, and it's not a good one. I have lost more balls on hole 3 here than I have probably combined anywhere else. Now at about 20 kilometers in, my heart rate is 166 beats per minute, which I find really high, but my breathing is so relaxed right now, which is absolutely crazy. I am not out of breath at all. I'm really surprised that my heart rate's like that, but my breathing's like this. 164. So now entering Tin Cap. And I've got about 30 minutes to get back home, so this was a good choice to come down this way. going east here just sort of takes me back to the area of around where I started this whole ride. So Centennial Road, way further east is where you get to Bethel. And now back in the city of Brockville. So I think we start on the outskirts, stop on the outskirts and right by the OSPCA. And this is as good a place as any to end the ride. 24 kilometers, not bad.